last life I planted good seeds. Now in this life I met good friends and a good knowing one to teach me deep wisdom. Here we go. I think that I will go to Buddhahood real soon. I hope so. My Dharma friends and I together will go to perfect enlightenment. To perfect enlightenment. What do you think about that? Isn't that nice? Actually, Lonnie Bauer put the melody to it, but this is Shifu's song. Let's do it again from the top, and by that time people will pretty much have arrived, although a lot of us, I guess, are still coming up the hill. Here we go. I'm really lucky to study Buddhism, because last life I planted good seeds. Now in this life I met good friends and a good knowing one to teach me deep wisdom. I think that I will go to Buddhahood real soon. I hope so. My Dharma friends and I together will go to perfect enlightenment. To perfect enlightenment. Then if you were recording it, you would finish off with a very soulful, I'm really lucky. That'd be the way you'd end it. So. Okay. Applaud Shifu. Twinkle, twinkle. Okay, that's Shifu's song, nice song. I tell you what, people are wandering up. And tonight the nuns, our bhikshunis, are going to be speaking. And we got something a little unusual at the top, which is we've got the first photos from everybody. So why don't we do this? I want everybody to hear the nuns. I don't want them to be stumbling in while we're requesting Dharma. So let's do our first photo show first, all right?
To begin, we'll start formally with homage to the Dharma Master, the Bodhisattvas, the Buddha and Dharma friends. My name is Jin-Rou, and I will introduce our topic tonight. Can you hear? You can hear well? Okay.
It's for the recording, not for the P.
Oh, it's not for the P. Okay, so we need to talk.
You have to project.
Yes, we have to. All right. So once again, we open the Sutra, the Sixth Patriarch Sutra. And we were talking amongst ourselves what to talk about. And actually, the very first beginning, this is very much like in the days of the Sixth Patriarch. People have come together in a great hall to listen to the Patriarch speak. And tonight you come here and to listen to us speak. And so we're going to speak about what the sutra means to us. And basically, the very first, at the beginning, the Patriarch says he's going to talk about how to purify the self-nature. And there are many topics we can talk about from this. So to begin with, the part that inspired me most was the Patriarch says, well, this is my story. You know, I'm here to talk to you So I'll tell you my story. And so he began by saying, first of all, I heard a verse from a sutra. And it's very like, for me, the same. I heard a verse from a sutra myself. And when I heard this verse, it was my first time to hear anything, any sutra, anything about Buddhism. Yet when I heard it, my life changed. And I'm sure all of you had the same experience, perhaps, when you saw a Buddha image or you heard a sutra being spoken. Probably you had the same thing happen to you. Maybe your life changed. So I will tell you my story, what happened when I first heard a sutra. It was not this sutra, but it was pretty much the same meaning. I went to a meditation retreat, and the speaker talked about bodhisattvas, who they were, what they were like. And he said there's a great bodhisattva named Earth Store Bodhisattva, and made a vow to enter the hells and to save all living beings because this bodhisattva had great compassion. He was enlightened. And to me, this was my first meaning for enlightenment, great compassion. So much that you want to enter the hells. And he says, and there's a book called the Earth Door Sutra, and my ears were like wings. I wanted to hear it over and over again. What's the name of that? Earth Door Sutra. And he says the commentary is by a monk named Master Jin-Rou. And I wanted to hear this name over and over and over and over again. And I said, where can I get the book? He says, I'll lend it to you. So I read the book, and the book is about, if you haven't read the sutra, it's about all the offenses people commit and the way they can be changed, the way things can be changed. And right away when I heard that this bodhisattva can enter the hells and save all living beings there, I wanted to do the same. And I had never, this was new to me. But I made a vow right then. I didn't make it, it was just made. But it's like in the Avatamsaka, like once you make the resolve, you're already there. Because you couldn't get there if you had made the resolve in the beginning. So when I read the sutra, I actually cried for 3 days because all my relatives and in my family, there are people who were murderers, they were thieves, my living relatives. And then there were the slaves in the past, they were slave owners. And so I just cried because because I knew where they were going. I knew about the hells. And then I reread it again, the entire sutra again, and I was extremely happy because now I knew there was something that could be done for them. And I bowed to the master and I said, will you please help me to do something to help my family who were slave owners and the slaves, all this suffering. Can you please help me with this? And I was taking an art class in right side, painting from the right side of the brain. So I turned the Earth Store, I had the sutra with the commentary, the old one. So I turned upside down and I began to draw Earth Store Sutra. And I was drawing lines and creating space and lines and space. And when I finished and I turned it over, there was an image of Earth Store Sutra, exactly like the cover. Yet, the creation was on the paper, but what I had done, I had created space in my own being for the sutra and for Earth Store and for my vows to actually take place and to even manifest. And it was very real to me, very, very real. But then I had to go to the kitchen and pound rice, like the patriarch. You're not there yet. Go to the kitchen. Time is not right. So go to the kitchen and pound rice. And so this is what I have been doing. I wanted to go to the city of 10,000 Buddhas, and there was a summer workshop for 3 months. And so I went to the city. I joined the workshop for 3 months. And I wanted to stay there. And the nun said, no, you can't stay. You had to leave. You had to make an application, and then we had to write you a letter and let you know if we're going to accept you. Well, I waited and waited for the letter. It never came. And finally, I just got on the bus, and I came to the city of 10,000 Buddhas. Anyway, I went to the office, and the master, Mr. Kellerman was a monk then. He says, okay, I'll bring the nuns. So they came over and said, well, we wrote you a letter, and we told you to not come. You don't qualify to be here. We don't think you'll make it, because I was a teacher in a college, and they said because most people who are intellectuals or they're educated don't make it well. We've had a lot of trouble with educated people. And, you have a master's, and I had a master's, and I was studying acupuncture. I said, all these things are things we don't want here. So I said, well, I never got the letter. And one nun says, you know why? It's in my pocket. I forgot to mail it. So I was allowed to stay, and they told me don't go to the kitchen because you're gourmet cooking. We don't want gourmet food in the kitchen. And the monks are going like, gee, there's in America, maybe we'll have some corn or something, maybe we'll have some American food. And the nuns said, no, we don't want gourmet food. It'll just turn everybody's minds. So they sent me to pull grass. So I pulled grass for 3 months that time. Pull grass. I just pulled grass all day. There was a lot of grass at the city. There was grass everywhere. It was the summertime. And so they needed someone to pull grass. And that's what I did. But later on, I was at the city. I actually was allowed to move there, and I stayed there for a long time. And then there was a water, land, and air ceremony. And I thought, this is my chance. So I put a highway up for my relatives who owned the slaves and for the slaves. I put it all in one. Nobody could read English anyway, so it didn't matter. So I was really, really hoping the master could help them. And as you all know, that was a very, very phenomenal year, because this is a year that so many people, it's the first year, it's the first time many highways were put up. And actually, on the night of the highway, actually all of these slaves began to come out of the ground. And all my relatives, all the owners, began to come out of the earth, just welling out of the earth everywhere. And I knew that Earth Story had, it was his work. He was like pulling them out of the hells, out of all this mire. And they lifted up, and they transcended, and they went up into the heavens or wherever. So this is a great relief for me, because all these years I always felt like pulled down by my relatives of the past, by the conditions, the slavery and the cruelty, and this was liberating for me. And this is why I want to talk tonight about making that first resolve of an enlightenment. It's just like being there. So we can all do that. The patriarch, he made the resolve, he was enlightened right away. We may have had to pound a lot of rice, but we can do it. And it's just the power of a sutra, the power it gives to you to make a difference in your life. This is what I want to say tonight.
Do we still have time or continue tomorrow?
All the time you want. Really.
Amitofo, my name is Jin-Jon, And tonight I have nothing to say. Jin-An Shr have something to say.
Just said something.
就是你所说的应该用中文再说一遍。
我今天没有什么话可以说，所以Jin-An Shr有故事要跟大家分享。
好 ，Okay, we'll come back to your time later then.
Tomorrow.
So how much time do I have? 2 minutes, right?
However, no, it's not limited.
I didn't talk 20 minutes, did I?
No,
I
It's
think I
just fine.
talked
The
10
time is totally flexible. It's up to us.
Sorry, I probably have no stories tonight. My name is Jin-An. I'm a newly ordained bhikshuni. So I think I'm here to learn from everyone. And at the same time, I would like to share my insights and understandings about the sutra and about the cultivation. Not last night, the night before, we had quite some discussions about the Sixth Patriarch, Venerable Master Huiming, and the Dharma Master Heng Sure. And I heard not just one person mentioned, "Oh, I feel very sorry for Dharma Master Heng Sure. Looks like he lost." And then I could feel that I had a lot of comparisons in my mind when I read the sutra text, how the first verse was not good enough, and the second verse kind of like, wow, it was really wonderful. And then when I went back, I thought about it. I came up with an analogy. I don't know if this can really best describe the situation or not, but this is what came up to me. Suppose there are two brothers. The younger brother is very smart and just graduated from, let's say, Harvard University. And this is the older brother. And then the younger brother is still in high school, maybe junior high. So from the point of view of the older brother, when he looks at the younger brother's textbook, it's probably very easy for him. But for the younger brother, if he looks at what his older brother is working on, probably he has no idea what his older brother is doing. So when I thought about that, well, maybe, I don't know if this is good or not, but maybe the Venerable Master Huiming is just like the older brother, and Dharma Master Heng Sure is just like the younger brother. If we think of this that way, I was wondering, do we still feel sorry for the younger brother? Probably not, because he needs time to grow up. We maybe just encourage him, hey, you study hard, and then eventually you can be like your older brother, something like that. We won't feel sorry. Oh, hey, you know what? You're not good enough. You're not as smart as your older brother. We probably won't think of that way. So when I thought of that, I think, well, if we look at things from a different angle, it's very different. Cultivation, I think, like all the Dharma Master mentioned earlier today, it takes lives and lives, many lives, numerous lives to do it, not just one single life. If we just look at this current life of one person, what we see is the result of the past deeds, past karma he or she did. Today we see is the result. So another interesting thing in the sutra text is, unlike most other Chan masters, all those enlightened patriarchs, Venerable Master Huiming didn't get enlightened or awakened through sitting in meditation. we probably heard a lot of stories about patriarchs, how much work they put, how much effort they put in their meditation and cultivation, probably sitting 10 incenses and 12 incenses, and finally they got enlightened. But this was not the case for Venerable Master Huineng. He got awakened just simply by hearing a verse in Vajra Sutra. So I think that's quite interesting. So how could that happen? And I think in Chinese, there is a term, 善根深厚. Literally, it can be translated as the great, deep, good root someone has. So for Venerable Master Huineng, he has this profound, wonderful, good root. That's by hearing a verse, he got awakened. I've been hearing verses and sutra texts for numerous times. I still don't feel anything. I'm still like muddled. So this good root, I think what makes a person have such a good root, it sounds so attractive some way to a practitioner. I want to have that. Really want to have that good root. And enlightenment, this word is also very attractive to all the practitioners in Buddhism. But I think when we look behind, what brought the patriarchs there was lives after lives, uncountable lives of hard work, numerous lives of cultivation, vigorous cultivation, and maybe numerous lives of following the moral precepts, following the Buddha's teachings. And eventually, like Lai Fa Shi said, when the condition has ripened, he gets enlightened. So what's that condition? How come that condition doesn't happen to me? Because I haven't cultivated long enough. Or maybe I should say, I didn't really put enough effort to my cultivation in my past lives. So today, I'm still here. When I just this morning, when I looked at my robe and sash, all of a sudden, I had a feeling. I thought, I don't really know how many lives that I had already been wearing this robe and sash as a left-home person. I don't really know. But today, right now, I'm still so upside down. I still have a lot of desires. I still have a lot of afflictions. So I feel, okay, you know what? I really need to put some effort into my cultivation. So that's what happened to me this morning. So today I talked about the 善根深厚, the great good roots a person might have. So I think the point is, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of sweat, a lot of blood to really have a very good, profound, good root. Time's up. Is it 20 minutes?
Jin-An Shr, 你讲几句中文，让大家听到你的东北的口音吧。
东北的口音，我已经丢了差不多了。我要跟东北人在一起呢，我的东北口音才会现出来。呀，哎呀，
你最后那个你说今天早上起身，你就怎么样用中文，让大家都听到一点吧。
OK， 好。今天早上因为在听法的时候，我就突然之间有一个感觉，我看着我身上的袈裟， 我想说，我都不知道有多少生我在穿这个袈裟，在过去我可能很多生或者没有很多生我都穿过这个袈裟了，可是到今天为止，我看看我自己，我的修行还是那么提不起来，我还是有很多烦恼，还是有欲望，还是那么多的妄想啊！我觉得说我真是应该为自己感到很羞耻，我真是应该好好的用功，我真是不应该浪费我的时间。所以这就是今天早上我突然有的这么一种感觉。阿弥陀佛。
Great. Okay, thank you, the three of you. That's wonderful. Jin-Jon Shr, maybe we'll give you another chance. Ready? Okay, we're going to do some community reading. We'll go over to, you'll find the secret is with you, the first paragraph. Ready? Last two lines, page 17, here we go. I then came out and sat on a boulder. Huiming bowed and said, I hope the cultivator will teach me the Dharma. I said, if you have come for the Dharma, then clear your mind of all thoughts, and I will teach you. Huiming was quiet for a long while. I said, before a thought of good or a thought of evil, right at that moment, what is Venerable Ming's original face? When Huiming heard these words, he experienced a profound awakening. Huiming then questioned me further, asking, other than the secret words and secret meanings you just uttered, is there yet another secret meaning? I answered him, what I just told you is not a secret. If you look within yourself, you'll find the secret is with you. Okay. Now, let's see here. I want people to see the Chinese. It's on, let's see, it's on page 146. 不思善不思恶. Okay, it's page 147. 147. The Chinese is 慧能云不思善不思恶正欲模式哪个是名上座本来面目 Okay. So let's line out what happened. So the pursuer caught the sixth patriarch, and the sixth patriarch didn't want to be killed or beaten up, so he hid himself, and in the process he took the robe and bowl and tossed them onto a rock. And he then hid himself in the bushes. So Master Huiming, who has been running, sees what he's been pursuing, tries to grab it, and he can't move it. Okay, that's a miracle. Flag that one. That's miraculous, right? Suddenly he can't move him. Why not? He's a big, strong guy. Can't move the robe and bowl. And so he shouts out, he says, cultivator, cultivator, I've come for the Dharma, not for the rope. Okay, that's where we left it last time. Now, sixth patriarch, this is his first chance to teach somebody. This is the first of a series of students that he teaches with his wisdom. And so he says, okay, well, you say you've come for the Dharma, not for the robe. All right, here's a test for you, he says. The same way the fifth patriarch gave everybody in the monastery a test, now the sixth patriarch is giving his first living being he's crossing over a test. He says, clear your mind of all thoughts, and I will teach you. Okay. Now, what is the state of mind of somebody who's been running 60 miles with one thought, I'm going to get the robe and bowl. Give it to me. Ha ha ha, I'm faster than those bozos behind me. Ha ha ha. Right? He's full of desire. He's like, maybe he's even murderous. Who knows? He wants it at any cost, right? 不知手段, he's going to get the robe and bowl. And you could say he's single-minded, but he's single-minded with greed. He's running, I'm going to grab it. So what is his state of mind? So the Sixth Patriarch, unafraid of him, well, Shifu's commentary said, might be a little afraid. But now he said, I don't want the robe, I want the Dharma. Okay, that you said it, so I'll come out. He sits on the rock and says, clear your mind of all thoughts and I'll teach you. Okay, so if you take water in a bottle and shake it up and shake it up and shake it up and shake it up and shake it up, and you set it there, it takes a while for that water to calm, right? It's sloshing. So Master Huiming's mind is sloshing. He's been, give me that robe and bowl, give me that robe and bowl. And okay, don't have any thoughts, calm your mind. Suddenly, Master Huiming has to deal with his state. Okay, the next sentence is one of those sentences that comes out of the Sixth Patriarch Sutra into the larger body of Mahayana teachings. This is one of those lines that gets quoted. He says, 不是善,不是恶,正欲莫使哪个是名上座本来面目. He says, don't think of evil. Don't think of good. Right now, show me your original face, Venerable Huiming. Right? How did Marty translate it? He says, before a thought of good or evil, show me your original face. Okay, so what is original face, right? That's one of those Zen words. That's right out of the Chan school. What is your original face?
Is that a direct translation?
Yeah, that's a direct translation. That's Chinglish. That's pure Chinglish. Yeah. So if we were to, so 本来面目, what is your original face? That's Chinglish. Dharma Master Lai pinned it. What do we say now? You could say, show me your fundamental identity. Who are you at root? Don't think of good, don't think of evil. Who are you really? That would be a good translation, adequate translation. Instead of what is your original face. That's Buddhist jargon, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, people don't say that.
I know. That's jargon. That's Buddhist. That's our Chinglish translation. But it's after we hear it so long, we just think, oh, that's the way the Buddhists talk. It's like, okay. So, Master Huiming, who are you at root? So he throws him this test, this challenge. That's a tough one. And this is kind of one of the original Gong-an, one of the original koans, right? The Zen school in Japan was big on koans. So here it is. It's a question that not necessarily has an answer. It's designed to shake you out of your ordinary thinking. It's designed to shock your thinking process so that you go beyond language and thinking itself. And if you get it, you can wake up. And apparently, he does. The story goes, Huiming suddenly experienced an enlightenment. Probably because his desire was so hot. He was hoofing it down the road, going to grab that robe and bowl, and here's this southern barbarian who's sitting there facing him, a layman. This is a monk talking to a layman. The guy says, all right, who are you? And Huiming is like, bam! This charging desire meets empty space. And he's just like, whoa, that's right. Who am I? Why am I pursuing the robe and bowl? I can't move it. I got it and I can't get it. That's a big shock. And it's enough, his conditions, talking about conditions a minute ago, his conditions were such that he experienced a profound awakening. Okay, but here's the kicker. This is so neat because the sutra shows us the complexities of the human mind. He just, quote, got enlightened. And what does he do? He says, is there something else? Is there more? I want more, right? His desire is sloshing back and forth in the jar. It hasn't completely become still yet. So he's been, I want that. And then he realizes there's nothing to get. It's in front of him and he can't even lift it. And the Sixth Patriarch goes, "Who are you?" And he's like, "Whoa, too much." So he's enlightened, but then his habits come back. He says, "Other than the secret words you just gave me, is there any other secret? Is there more?" Right? That's habit energy. That's the poisons we heard about this afternoon. The poison of greed, right? It's so hard to really quell it. Sixth Patriarch, cool as a cucumber. What does he say? He says, "What I told you isn't a secret. If you can," and here's another classic line out of the Sixth Patriarch Sutra, 回光返照密在汝边. And we translate it. Here we go. You ready? This is how far we've come over 30 years. Huiming said, Huineng said, "What has been spoken to you is not secret. If you reverse the illumination, the secret is on your side." Pure Chinglish. That's Chinese syntax with English words pasted on top of it, right? What do we say now? We would say something like, "Look within. You'll find the secrets with you already. Look within. You've already got it." It's not reverse the illumination, the secret is on your side. That's pure Chinese syntax with English words pasted on top, right? That's a classic of Chinglish, right? Reverse the illumination. Okay, turn that camera around and we'll, like climb into the light fixture and, no. What it means is look within. It's not outside. If you translate that way, just say, it's not outside. And Huiming, okay. So finally Huiming gets it, because why? After all, he's got really good roots, like we just heard. And he's like, lucky he met Sixth Patriarch. He woke up, But it took 2 hits of utter truth. Because the first hit, his habit of, I want it, gimme. Well, here it is, I can't lift it. Oh, frustrated desire, right? So, okay, I'll give me the Dharma. I can't get the bowl, give me the Dharma. Well, you know what? Who are you? I don't know, but there's more, right? Did I get the Dharma? Did I get it already? Did you give it to me? I didn't get anything, He's so full of desire. So the Sixth Patriarch says, nope, it's inside you. Bong. That might be enough to finally calm him till he stops running. What does it remind you of? There's a familiar story from the Buddha's life of Angulimala. We heard about Angulimala from Jin-Rou Shr the other day. This famous story, right? One of the Buddha's classic stories. Angulimala was a serial killer. Angulimala means a finger garland. He made a garland of 1,000 fingers that he cut off of people he killed. And so the Buddha, meditating in the morning, saw that this Angulimala character was about to kill his mother to get the last finger. And he said, if he kills his mother, that's it. He's going to fall in. That's one of the sins that you don't return from. We talk about repentance. We heard about it today. So he says, okay, I'm going to intervene. So the Buddha puts himself between Angulimala and his mother. Angulimala's got his knife, and he's chasing his mother through the woods. And the Buddha puts himself between, and the Buddha is using his spiritual powers to run backwards at the same speed that Angulimala is running forwards. And the guy is slashing with his knife, and he can't touch the Buddha because the Buddha's, backpedaling. Tum, 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 tum. I don't think he has a parasol like our soccer player here, but he's very cool. He's like running back. And Angulimala says, stop running! He says, frustrated like Huiming, and the Buddha says, I've stopped long ago. You should stop running. And boom, he wakes up. He realizes there's much more to the story. Why is he killing 1,000 people? But he went on to become an arhat and woke up on the spot. So similar kind of, hot pursuit that when you realize there's nothing to get, you've already got it, and as soon as you stop running, it's all yours. That's Huiming's awareness. Okay, so fascinating encounter between the Sixth Patriarch and his first student, his first disciple. So what happens? We find out what Huiming says. You want to read his down to Huiming bowed and departed. We ready? We're on the second paragraph, page 18. Here we go. Huiming said, although Huiming was at Huangmei, he had never actually paid attention to his original face. Now, with your instruction, I am like a man who takes a drink of water and knows for himself whether it's hot or cold. Cultivator, now you are my master. If you feel that way, I said, then you and I have the same master of Huangmei. Protect and maintain it well. Huiming then asked, where should I go? I said, stop at Yuan, stay at Meng. Huiming bowed and departed. Okay. So, happy ending. Happy ending. He says, boy, I was there with Shen Xiu, but everybody gave him all of the glory, and I thought it was all for him, and I never kind of like used the Dharma on my own mind. I was in the middle of the assembly, but I never really listened, never took it in. I was always outside. So now I'm like, having finally heard the Dharma, thank you for that, I'm like somebody who's drunk water and I know that it's hot or cold. That's often an image that they say. When you drink water, you yourself know. Yes, sir. Omar.
I have a question for life usher. And my question is that we've seen a lot of people who are cultivating out of greed for enlightenment. And I think in his talk, life usher said he had a similar motivation. And the Venerable Master told him not to seek for enlightenment. So my question is, it obviously takes a lot of determination to cultivate and to endure the difficult practices. So my question is, once you stop cultivating out of wanting to get enlightened, what is the motivation, or what motivation did life actually find to continue to practice with so much determination if you're not seeking for enlightenment anymore?
Well, the key word you used was seeking. But the key word the Shifu told me was don't be greedy for. There's a difference. We're all seeking to be Buddhas. Just don't be greedy to be a Buddha. There's a difference.
Okay. Got that? So you can still, for example, we hear about the 6 guidelines, the 6大宗旨, right? And the third one is no seeking. And people go, but wait, you're cultivating, aren't you seeking? And the difference is a bodhisattva's vows say, living beings are suffering, I'm going to take them all across. You could say that's seeking, and in that case, if you're going to interpret that the third of the 6 guidelines that way, then that's a mistake. That's not what Shifu meant, I think. So it's more like there's a vow comes from the same mind, but it's not self-seeking. It's not to gratify desire. You can still want change, and you have to. Common sense says if you see somebody suffering, you want them, want the suffering to end. Can you do it selflessly? Yeah, and that's not seeking. But greed is clearly, I want more. I'm hungry. I'm craving for this. That's greed. So.
And also the master knew that me and everybody else who's there obviously wants to wake up. So yeah, you can say you're seeking to wake up, but he used that as a teaching tool. He says the more you grasp at that elusive thing of waking up, becoming awake, the more it's going to run away from you. He didn't say not to seek it. He just said if you try to get it in that way, it's going to disappear. Because ultimately, Buddhism is about not grabbing things. Buddhism is about letting things go. And when you really let everything go, then you wake up. So it's a dichotomy. It's like absolute opposite of what we think. We think We want something that's actually the opposite.
It's called a paradox. You know, it's paradoxical. You, 得之失之, right? Says this, the Tao Te Ching says, someone who tries to possess it actually loses it. So, what I want to point to here, thinking about the Bhikshuni's talk today and also about Megan's comment earlier, is here is Huiming Shr, who, by the way, does that footnote? Oh, let me. I'm going to read you the parentheses part in italics. There's a footnote here. Returning to the foot of the mountain, Huiming said to the crowd of pursuers, "Up above, there's only rocky, trackless heights, no trace of him to be found. Let's go look elsewhere." The pursuers all agreed. Afterwards, Huiming changed his name to Daoming to avoid using the first name of his master. Somebody's going to go, "But that's a lie," right? So what did he do? He sent the pursuers off on a false trail to protect his master. Okay, that's a white lie. Okay, that's a white lie, all right? But there's a greater good there. Okay, so the point I wanted to make was that habits are strong. We were talking to Megan at 4 o'clock about, she said, when you're meditating, and what do you do when stuff arises that you really don't want and you thought it was gone and there it is again? You know, is there something wrong with your meditation? Or is there any way to like cleanse it with Mr. Clean, get rid of that? And my answer was, fundamentally, our nature doesn't have stuff in it. It has everything in it, but then once we cling to it, then you start, there's good deeds, there's bad deeds, all of which are called what? Karma. Karma is one of those words that is misunderstood a lot. Karma, from the Buddhist point of view, simply means action. But it's action and it's reaction. So it's good deeds that bring about a wholesome retribution, harmless, everybody likes it, and other kinds of actions that bring about negative deeds that when they come, you don't want it. You think about it, in your garden, you work a lot, and over here you have tomatoes, and you have marigolds, and cucumbers, and zucchini. You like that. Good to eat, good to, pretty. Over there, you've got star thistle, you've got nettles, you've got crabgrass, and nobody wants to pull crabgrass out and put it on the altar. It's like, you don't want that. Walk among star thistles with bare feet, and you, ouch, 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 right? So, cultivation is being a good gardener, growing what you want. Now, potentially, I suppose you could cultivate weeds and thistles, but a good gardener, a skillful, wise gardener, chooses among the things the ground grows, and the ground grows them impartially, happily. Okay, so there's our theory, right? That's what we're talking about, theory. So, suppose you do a deed, we'll just call it, you create a bit of karma that you regret. Oh man, I shouldn't have lied to her. I feel really bad. I cheated on her. I lied to her, or him, right? So you regret that, and you know that you created that negative condition. Okay, so in the stillness of your meditation, up comes this thought, oh, I really shouldn't have done that. I'm not going to do that again. Okay, well, maybe it impacted your karma, your consciousness for 6 months or a year after it happened. Well, you've got to deal with all of the ripples that were created when you did that deed. Over time, it will go away if you don't repeat it. What is Huiming here? Huiming, as described, Master Huiming, Dharma Master Huiming, was, Shifu said he was a 4th grade military officer. He was coarse. He scolded people all the time. He never said a kind word. If you didn't like him, his scolding, he would smash you. He was muscular. He had feathers on his feet, This is a tough character. And somebody who is entirely externally oriented. He's not a reflecting kind of guy. He's not a sensitive character, right? So his habit of taking what he wants appears in the sutra. He takes what he wants. He wants the robe and bowl, he's going to take it. Okay? So what is that? That's habit. It's habit. So reflecting back to Megan's question, when do those thoughts finally go away? Well, how many times did you plant those seeds and allow them to rise? Once you stop, what do they say? When the conditions no longer come together, it's over. As long as the conditions come together, it exists. All conditioned dharmas exist only because the conditions come together. When they come apart, it's over, including our lives, our bodies. So that's the nature of karma. And here is, the sutra illustrates it, because Huiming has just, quote, woken up, but guess what? He's still after something, he doesn't even know what it is. He comes back twice. Okay, you asked me who I am. Well, I think I understand that. But by the way, there's more, right? Because he's just in the habit of grabbing. That's what he knows, is I take what I want. So Sixth Patriarch suddenly goes, there's nothing to get. Yeah, but what else? So that's a habit. And the quick answer is, when will those thoughts stop rising in meditation? When they're no longer coming ripe from the seeds that were planted. Stop planting the seeds, that's over in time. Before it ends, you have to be patient. Patiently wait for the seeds to stop sprouting and creating fruit, and it's over. And it's only to be feared that in the process you go, oh, I'm just a bad meditator. Either that or I'm a bad person. I don't meditate anymore because I'm afraid that's going to keep coming up. And you quit before the season, before your garden stops growing, whatever that you planted. So karma is neutral. It's good or bad depending on how long we've planted those seeds. That's when it's over. And the nice thing about this is what? It empowers you. You're the gardener. It's no other force is forcing those thoughts to come to your mind. Nobody is telling Huiming to be greedy. It's just his habit. So one day, Marty, Heng Sure, was really frustrated because the longer he was bowing, the more he was having these defiled thoughts in his mind. And he was really, really frustrated. And we were in Marin County. Shifu came out in the old station wagon. And Marty asked me to translate for Shifu. And he said, Shifu, I'm having all kinds of false thinking. And what do I do, Shifu? Is this just it for the rest of forever? Am I going to be thinking about these polluted thoughts? And Shifu said, desire and dharma compete in your mind. Habit tells the story who will succeed. Your habits determine who will succeed. Desire and what you do and dharma compete in your mind. Which one will win is determined by your habits. So, in other words, take responsibility for your actions. Nobody else is to blame. And that's why we say Buddhism is kind of a practice for adults. Not everybody can see this, and not everybody wants to. Why are theistic religions 90% of the world's religions? It's because mostly we want to give it to somebody else. Let go and let God, we say, right? Give it to God or some supreme being. He decides. That way you're free. You don't have to face anything that you did. All the power's out there, and so Dad'll take care of it. So we give all that decision making to, and you know what? Most of the people in the world think that's good enough. And for me to sit here and go, see, they're silly, you're foolish. No, can't say that. Most people want a decision maker out in the sky. Who? Christians, Jews, Hindus, Muslims, everybody who's got a theistic faith, where theos, where God is up there in the sky, that's the answer. Let go and let God. And what do? We pray to hope to kind of let him know how we feel about it, so that he'll give us favor. Okay, that's the faith I was raised in. My mother totally lives there. That's a religion for most of the world. There's a small number of people who look more deeply into it, to my mind, and go, my experience is that actually when I stop doing that stuff, the bad stuff stops too. When I do good stuff happens. Not only that, if I do a lot of good stuff, I can actually help other people get good stuff out of my actions. I like that, right? So I want to move into what's it called? Cause and effect. Cause and effect is the basis of Buddhism. It really is. It's just this, and strangely enough, it's there in the Hebrew scriptures. It's the basis of Judaism and Christianity as well, but there are other stories at work, right? So the Buddha's story, he said, I did not invent cause and effect. I'm telling you how this is the way the world is built. I observed it. And it's part of Hinduism as well. This is a deep, deep understanding of how the world works. So here we have, Huiming, who in just this little encounter, this little vignette right here, we see like Huiming suddenly grow up. Here he was at Huangmei, Yellow Plums, with the fifth patriarch, paying no attention, kind of following the assembly, doing a lot, probably, being a bully when he could, but when you're in the Sangha, you just kind of follow. You don't have to, you get food, you get to show up on time, and pretty good, But now here he is outdoors, finally he's faster than everybody else, I'm going to get it, Well, he can't get it. He got a major frustration, and luckily the person he met was the sixth patriarch, who was able to go, look in the mirror, dude. Who are you? I don't see anybody. Right. Congratulations. Oh, well, tell me the secret. There's no secret. Look within. Boom. Suddenly, and just all of that was enough, and he woke up. They say, actually, Shifu in his commentary says that Master Huiming went to Mengshan, a place called Misty Mountain, and he was the one who created the Mengshan Shr that we do every night. Okay, I saw Stacy and then I saw Spike.
The version that I hear Marty says is the desire finds the Dharma, but practice decides.
Practice decides.
Yeah, so kind of Shifu's instruction is
Desire and the Dharma fight in the mind. Practice decides.
Is that you don't focus on fighting your desire, but just keep your intentionality of putting your effort and your practice.
There we go. So, desire and Dharma
I can't remember.
compete in the mind. It's practice decides. That was his answer to Marty, right? So what you do, in other words, cause and effect. Plant your garden. Spike.
I guess especially early days, I struggled a lot with this idea that in theory, on one end, Buddhism doesn't put power outside. On the other, we pray to Guanyin to come and help us, and we pray Amitabha to come and bring us to the Western land.
You bet. Contradiction, right? Okay, so why? It's because we're looking at the Chan school right here. This is Sixth Patriarch is Chan school. Notice how much compassion we've heard about? Like none. This is all prajna. This is wisdom. Okay? This is called 自力. Your own strength takes you across. we just heard it, right? The sixth patriarch says, okay, get in the boat, I'm going to take you across. The brand new sixth patriarch says, no, Shifu, it's appropriate for me to take you across. In fact, we take ourselves across. That's all zi li, that's the purest expression of Chan. Not everybody likes that. Dharma Master Lai today said that Shifu told him, 1 out of 100 people who meditate ever really gets all the way home, right? Right within the Chinese Mahayana, there's a huge number of people who are very, very close to devotion. They create Tali, Amitabha. Buddhism is a big, big family, and we have our, quote, theistic strain. Although it's not theistic, you still have to recite. That's the deal. It's not, all we have to do is wait for Amitabha to take us across. No, you have to use his Dharma. We have to call on Guanyin. So it's not entirely through grace. You still have to invoke. So, Namo Amitofo, Namo Guanyin Pusa. That's the kind of getting Guanyin on the cell phone. Guanyin, please pick up. So it's sort of, it's devotional, but it's not theistic in the, the Judeo-Christian version or the Hindu version of theistic. So, Spike, does that satisfy you? But it's interesting that there's a huge, huge number of Buddhists for whom Chan is not the way. They much prefer the idea of having the Father in the West, but who is he? He is the Tzu Hu. He's the compassionate Father.
What did Shifu tell us about the West? He said, all you Westerners, the best school is the Pure Land.
He says Pure Land.
Yeah.
The Pure Land is the best.
That's our culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this sutra, the Buddha, the sixth patriarch actually takes back Guanyin and Amitabha, and it's just that, well, that's just part of your nature. So even calling on Guanyin or Amitabha, you're not looking outside. You're still looking within. It's still part of your nature.
So Tomas actually is previewing somewhere that I wanted to go later, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, which is how the sixth patriarch renders Pure Land. There's an edge. It's really interesting. He's critical of the Pure Land, and he still delivers it, but there's an edge to it. That'll confuse things here. So, bowing around the Buddha Hall, a city of 10,000 Buddhas, outdoors for about 3 months, and one day I'm bowing, and here's these yellow monk shoes in front of me. I'm bowing, and I look up, Shifu, and Shifu's, what doing, And so I immediately, without I didn't think of anything evil or good, I said, Shifu, what's the best Dharma door? What's the best practice, Shifu? I just ask it right out, and I fully expected Shifu to go, what are you folks thinking about this? Just bow with a single. He didn't. He didn't say that at all. He said, Nian Fo Shi Liang Guang. Recite the Buddha's name, it's limitless light. And then he walked away, and I'm like, And so to this day, I still don't recite the Buddha's name. Talk about it, misbehaving monk. So I said, Shifu, what's the best practice? He said, Yao Nian Fo Shi Liang Guang. Recite the Buddha's name, it's limitless light. Andrea, did you ever hand up? No? You were just holding your head. Okay. Too much. Boom, boom. Yeah, so, okay. Interesting. Back in the Tang Dynasty, you had to choose. If you were on the Chan Monastery mountain, you didn't recite the Buddha's name. If you were over in the Pure Land, and it was different Pure Land then, Amitabha was not the practice. Maitreya was the devotional practice in the Tang. Amitabha came later, interestingly. So to now, from the Ming Dynasty on, which is like 1600, didn't matter. You could be in any monastery and you could both recite the Buddha's name and also meditate. Dual practice. So if you think about it this way, when you look into the world of yoga, there's a bunch of traditional yogas. There is Raja Yoga, which is meditation. There's, of course, Hatha Yoga, which is exercise, breath, right? There's karma yoga, which is service. Always in the kitchen, always with a broom, always, mopping after lunch like Dad, just working, always serving others first. That's a karma yoga, okay? What else? Bhakti yoga. What is bhakti yoga? It's devotion. You pour out your heart to the divinity. Amitabha, Guan Yin, great strength. Manjushri, Samantabhadra, right? Earth store. So that's another kind of yoga. Then there's also Jnana yoga, the path of knowledge, where you learn the sutras, you learn language, right? So there's a classical list of different kinds of yogas. What's a yoga comes from the same root as yuj, which means a yoke. It's actually a cognate in English. What's a yoke? You have a very large animal, a bull, and you want him to go left. Well, he weighs 2,000 pounds and he's super strong. How do you get him to go left? You put this wooden collar on him and you tug left. And you have a special language. You say, gee, ha, and he goes left. Right? Left. And he goes left. You put a yoke on him. So yogas are a collar to put us in a form so we go somewhere. And some people spend their whole lives with bhakti yoga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Right? And they dance and they're just overjoyed. Bliss. We're seeking bliss, And that's a legitimate way to go. What is largely my Protestant roots? It's called praise tradition. It's a praise tradition. You leave like the Sierras and head east across the country on Highway 80. You turn a radio on and you'll be hearing contemporary Christian music, CCM, all the way to New York. And it's just praise, It's praise God from whom all blessings flow. It's praise. And that's largely a devotional. You love God. You love Jesus. You love Mary. And that's real religion for the majority of the folks in this country. Okay, there's also, Jnana Yoga, the study of sutras and languages. That's a wonderful way to practice. So Buddhism has its yogas. We have our 5 schools, right? Pure Land, Amitabha, it's limitless light. I just love Amitabha. I want to go to the Pure Land. Qiu Sheng Jing Du. I want to get there. I want to be reborn in the West. I do, And Amitabha's vows are going to take me there. That's the deal, is his strength takes me there. Other people go, nah, I want to watch my mind. Who's in there? What is Huiming's original identity? And other people go, yeah, well, I just keep false thinking. I'm thinking about what's tomorrow's dessert. That was really good today. I wonder if there's going to be pancakes again. That was really good maple syrup. So, and other people are like, they want to memorize sutras. They want to do mantras. Other people like the Vinaya. So those are yogas. They're yokes you put on to discipline and train. Ultimately, why does becoming a Buddha take so long? Is because every single one of those yogas that Spike asked about has to do with, it's an expedient means for reducing the covers of your nature. Every one of those is designed to knock more of the darkness off our nature, which is bright. What was the first sentence? The very first sentence was, good and wise friends, Bodhi is the purity of your nature. 84,000 ways to make your nature right. You ask Shr for which one's the best one, his answer would be whichever one you like. And you probably, before it's all over, you need every one of them. Because sometimes you get in a rut, other times, like for me, this is something I learned. I was talking to Marty again, writing, or I wrote, I didn't talk, and said, what are you practicing? And I wrote, well, I said, when I'm bowing, I'm going, with every step, Namo Fo, Namo Fa, Namo Sung. When I go down, it's Namo Da Fang Guang Fo Hua Yan Jing. When I'm down there, I go Wang Shi So Zao Zhu Ye Jie Yu Wu Shi Tung Yu Yu Ju Hui Wu Shi Hua Yan Hai Hui Fo Pu Sa Namo Fo, Namo Fa, Namo Sung. And as soon as I stop, I start reciting the Great Compassion Mantra because I got to do 108 today. And I'm also memorizing the 10 practices chapter, the first practice. And he goes, "You're nuts. You're just nuts. How is that single-minded?" You know, and I, because I'm a translator, I've got double lines. I got double lifeline, double headline, double heartline. I've got 2 monkeys going back and forth inside from tree to tree. If I only do one thing, there's the other monkeys like commenting. "What are you doing? That's a lot of waste of time. Hey, you think that's going to get you enlightened? You know, why don't you just eat a banana? Here, give me a banana." You know, so I need more than one. What does he? Marty's got like 3 lines on his hand. 1, 2, 3. What does he do? Om Mani Padme Hum in time to his breath. 1 Dharma Dharma. Only 1 from the start. Doesn't need more. Only 1. Right? And he's a martial artist, and he's got really good eyes. He's not a translator. He doesn't do languages. So I got weak eyes but strong ears, so I got multiple stuff going on. So everybody's different. Everybody's different. Sometimes you cultivate something for years, and it's time to move on. You know, cultivation has a beginning process, and then you graduate. You want the next level of practice. That's why it's good to have a good and wise advisor and Dharma friends with you who you can compare notes and check. James.
Kind of just answered it there. How would you best know whatever Dharma Dar is most appropriate for you, even if it's not necessarily the easiest for you?
Yeah, well, you know, Sherpa would probably throw it back to you and say whichever one you like, and then you're kind of back and stuck. But some people are just totally not drawn to sutras. Other people are absolutely fascinated by sutras. Some people, I know we have a monk at Wanpo whose name is Heng Ge. Heng Ge came to Liu Gui in Kaohsiung County, and he was really interested. He was a farming guy, and he raised dogs. And he came and he felt like he didn't have the zhiga to even set foot in the monastery when he came. So what did he do? He took his hoe and he stayed outside in the garden below the Buddha hall so he could hear us chanting. We said, "Come on in, come on." No, I'm not clean, he said. So he stayed outside and chuk, chuk, chuk with his hoe, just weeding the garden, listening to the sounds coming out the window. We said, "Hey, it's lunchtime. You want to eat?" "No, I brought my own food. I really don't. Omi tofu." And it took him about 6 months to actually set foot in the monastery because he felt like he wasn't clean enough. You know, it's so fascinating. And Americans, you know, what do? "Oh, hey, what you got going here? Hey, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a good book. Hey, you know, can I take one?" You know, you know, and we're, you know, it's a different way. So everybody's different. And so, James, I don't know. It's like, which one do you like? And you'll be drawn to some, but don't feel like you have to stick to one. On the other hand, don't go shopping. You know, drop one and pick up another. So it's good to ask. And like when I first got to Gold Mountain, here was Bhikshu Hung Yo telling me to bow to a sutra. I said, "Bow to a sutra? That's so slow. I read 6 books at a time. I'm a graduate. I open them up like this. You know, I just pile them up on top of each other. That's how I read books, you know." And he said, "Yeah, and what do you retain from it?" "Well, not much. I never finished one." He says, "Yeah, exactly." He said, "Bow to one character at a time." And so I did, and sure enough, I remembered every word on the page by going, Ru, Shr,
It's like one word.
Wo. You know, Ru, Shr, Wo. One, I bowed to every character on the page, and it took me 60 minutes to do a page, and it was like, I remembered every word. It was like, oh, I get it. Oh, that's pretty cool. If I hadn't done it, I wouldn't have believed it, you know. So I'm still bowing to the sutra. That was the first day I set foot in Gold Mountain. So everybody is different kind of, you know. Does that make sense? So, yeah. I won't try to tell you what's the best one. But if you listen carefully, you'll be drawn to some and not to others. Time's up. So So tomorrow we'll invite the Bhikshunis to speak again. Okay. All right. Should we transfer the merit? Yeah, could I have the dedication of merit is in the back of your songbook. Make a wish, however you want to send it out there. By the way, the air quality in southern Oregon is the worst in the nation today because of the forest fires. And Palm Springs, California, 121 degrees today. Tucson, Arizona, 112 degrees today. In the just south of here, southern, the non-coastal areas of Oregon is 96. Here it's 50 when we come out tonight. It's 9:15.